Me against an entire army. Sounds easy enough. Let's dance.
Netflix just dropped its adaptation of Devil May Cry, and it's quite the bumpy ride. Quite stylish, and it is the bloodbath fans expected, but it lacked the depth and emotional weight for a dark and supernatural show about demons. It's not a total miss though, but it's not the super combo we wanted from an adaptation of the game. So you know what? Let's talk about it!
I know better than to trust the demon.
Just a disclaimer, this isn't a deep dive from an expert on DMC lore. I came in knowing the basics: Dante, Virgil, Sons of Sparta, demons, guns, swords, and you know the style. Even with those lowered expectations, this adaptation left me with more questions than getting hyped for the second season. Speaking of the story, it tries to juggle protagonist arcs and villain backstories, but it ends up focusing more on the side characters than the face of the game himself, Dante. Dante feels more like a tool reacting to other people's trauma and a means to an end, rather than being the driving force of the plot of the show itself.
Four so-called soldiers of fortune stealing common stones for a mere 2.5 million, when there's something right in front of you that is beyond earthly value.
Aside from Dante, let's talk about the villain. You know, the White Rabbit starts quite intriguing, but quickly turns into, the familiar good guy gone mad archetype. His motives? Probably revenge. His backstory? It was emotional at first, but it becomes more of a cliche. His fighting ability was, never explained. He shows up, wrecks things, and, admit it, he just does a lot of aura farming. Lady's character feels like a missed opportunity as well. Her hatred for demons, even from her childhood, is front and center. Forcing the tragedy on her just makes it a bit underwhelming. The show tells about her personal tragedy, but never really commits to giving more depth to it. Honestly, it feels more like a Batman story. Of course, by the end of the whole ordeal of the show, she seems to have, learned nothing. Enough about the negatives, let's give credit where it's due. The animation, it was gorgeous. The fights, they were very, very smooth. Episode 6 in particular plays really good in terms of the styling, the transition between the different portals, the art style changing. It was quite unexpected. But the problem with that is that the story tends to lean more in becoming predictable and actually unsatisfying.
Who are we shooting at?
Now, with all that, Netflix Devil May Cry isn't a disaster. It's actually pretty fun to watch. I binged it for one whole night, but it isn't the devilishly good adaptation that fans probably was hoping for either. If you're into flashy fights and dark visuals, guys, give it a shot. It's a fun time. But if you're hoping for a Dante-driven story, maybe wait and see where the next season goes. Our overall rating of Devil May Cry is, I'll be honest, it's a little bit half-brewed for tea. It's intriguing, but a little bit understeamed. It needs more cooking. Anyway, check out my full written review on Substack, and the link is in the description. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. Subscribe, and was Netflix Devil May Cry an S tier combo, or was it just, a D? Let me know in the comments.